7 study habits are quietly destroying your GPA, and most students have no idea they are making these mistakes. The worst part is that if you keep repeating them, you will spend double the time studying, while getting only half the results on every exam, and every semester. The good news is that every fix on this list takes less than 5 minutes to start using. Let's begin. During my first year, I spent 3 straight weeks rereading the same 4 chapters every night before my exams. I thought I was working harder than everyone else. Then I failed 2 subjects. Not because I was lazy, not because I was incapable, but because I was studying the wrong way, and nobody ever showed me a better method. These are the 7 habits that hold students back without them realizing it. Most students sit down and study for 2 or 3 hours without stopping and call it a productive session. The problem is not how long you study. The problem is that your brain stops effectively absorbing new information after about 25 to 30 minutes of intense focus without a break. If you ignore that reality, a huge portion of your study time becomes useless. It is like staring at a page while nothing actually stays in your memory. The information passes through your eyes, but never becomes knowledge. This phenomenon is known as cognitive overload. In 1988, psychologist John Sweller from the University of New South Wales identified that once your working memory becomes overloaded, the process of transferring information into long-term memory begins to shut down. You may feel productive, but your brain is no longer keeping up. The solution is simple. Use the Pomodoro method. Study for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and repeat that cycle 4 times. After 4 rounds, take a 20-minute break. That counts as 1 complete study session. Aim for 2 sessions per subject every day, and stay consistent with it. Now let's talk about highlighting. You open your textbook with a bright highlighter in your hand and start marking everything that seems important. By the end of the chapter, most of the page is covered in yellow. It feels productive. It feels like you are learning. But the reality is very different. Highlighting does not force your brain to think. It only asks your brain to recognize information. Recognition and recall are completely different processes. Exams test recall, not recognition. In a 2013 review published in Psychological Science, researcher John Dunlowski from Kent State University evaluated 10 of the most popular study techniques. Highlighting ranked among the least effective methods and showed almost no meaningful improvement in exam performance when compared to doing nothing at all. Instead of highlighting, start using margin notes. After reading each paragraph, close the book and summarize the main idea in 1 sentence using your own words. Limit yourself to underlining, no more than 3 words per page. Force your brain to process and translate information rather than simply marking it. Next, imagine you have a biology exam on Friday. So from Monday through Thursday, you study only biology. It feels organized. It feels focused. But it is actually one of the quickest ways to create weak memory. When you spend too much time on a single subject, your brain adapts to the pattern and stops working as hard. Retrieval becomes too easy during practice, and easy retrieval often creates fragile memory when exam day arrives. Cognitive scientist Robert Bjork from UCLA refers to this as the interleaving effect. When you switch between different subjects during a study session, your brain must repeatedly load different mental frameworks. That effort strengthens learning and creates memories that last longer. The solution is to avoid studying 1 subject for more than 45 minutes at a time. During a study block, rotate between at least 2 subjects. If you have 3 hours available, split the time evenly. Rotation is not a distraction. It is one of the most effective ways to improve retention. Another mistake is becoming too dependent on the perfect study environment. You have your favorite desk, your favorite playlist, your preferred snacks, and everything arranged exactly the way you like it. But your exam will not happen in that environment. When you always study in the same place, part of your memory becomes attached to those surroundings. Move to a different room, a different chair, or a different level of background noise, and suddenly retrieval becomes harder. This is known as context-dependent memory and has been supported by decades of cognitive psychology research, including the famous underwater memory experiments conducted by Godin and Baddeley in 1975. The fix is to regularly change your study location. Study in the library for one session, at the kitchen table for another, and somewhere different after that. At least once a week, study in a quiet environment that closely resembles real exam conditions. Train your brain to retrieve information without relying on comfort cues. Another common habit seems responsible, but actually works against long-term learning. You attend a lecture, take notes, and then review those notes the same evening. Most students think this is the best approach. In reality, it is one of the least efficient review schedules possible. The reason is simple. Your brain still has strong residual activation from the material you learned earlier that day. Reviewing it again requires very little effort, and low-effort retrieval creates weak long-term memory. Back in 1885, Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered what became known as the spacing effect. Memory retention drops dramatically within the first 24 to 48 hours after learning something new. The ideal strategy is to review information after some forgetting has already begun. That challenge strengthens the memory trace. The solution is a 3-step review schedule. Review the material on day 1, again on day 3, and then once more on day 7. Avoid reviewing it between those sessions. Allow forgetting to happen, then force yourself to retrieve the information. That effort is what transforms short-term learning into long-term retention. Now let's talk about your phone. Maybe it is face down. Maybe it is on silent mode. Maybe you are proud of your self-control. Unfortunately, it is still damaging your focus. In 2017, researchers at the University of Texas at Austin discovered that simply having a smartphone nearby reduced available cognitive capacity. Even when the phone was powered off and not being used, participants who kept it on their desk performed worse on concentration tasks than those who placed it in another room. Your brain uses mental resources to resist checking the phone, even if you never touch it. The solution is distance, not discipline. Before every study session, leave your phone in a completely different room. Not in your pocket. Not in your backpack. Not beside your desk. In another room. Repeat this for 10 study sessions and compare your productivity. The difference will surprise you. Finally, we arrive at the most damaging habit on this entire list, the one that countless students build their study routines around. You finish a topic, then read it again and again. Every time it feels more familiar. Your confidence grows with each pass through the material. Then exam day arrives, and suddenly you cannot remember any of it. That happens because rereading creates familiarity, not memory. Your brain recognizes the information and says, "I have seen this before." But recognition is not the same as retrieval. It does not strengthen the memory itself. On exam day, familiarity is useless if you cannot pull the information out of your mind. Retrieval is what matters. Think about two students in the same class, using the same textbook, and attending the same lectures. One spends every evening rereading notes. The other studies for 10 minutes, and then closes everything, forcing himself to write down everything he can remember from memory. After 4 weeks, who do you think performs better? Scott Young documented this principle in Ultra Learning. The students who managed to outperform mid-undergraduates on identical exams shared one critical habit. They constantly tested themselves. They did not simply review information. They actively retrieved it. The solution is straightforward. At the end of every study session, close your books, close your notes, and take out a blank sheet of paper. Write down every concept, definition, idea, and connection you can remember. Do not look at your notes until you are completely finished. Only then should you compare your answers with the material. Spend 10 minutes doing this after every study session. Every single time. Aim for at least 3 retrieval sessions per subject every week. Here is the truth. Your grades are not a reflection of your intelligence. They are a reflection of your study methods. Every student watching this has the ability to fix every mistake on this list. The issue was never your potential. The issue was the system you were using. And if you change only one thing after watching this video, make it the final habit. Stop rereading and start using blank page recall at the end of every session. The other habits improve the conditions around your studying. This one completely changes what your brain does with the information itself. If you enjoyed this video and want more evidence-based study strategies like this, subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out the link in the description.